This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes 30 seconds and counting. Launch countdown operations are continuing, and the team is not working any technical issues at this time. However, as you can see by the picture, there are a number of weather violations we are closely monitoring. Today's 65-minute window opens at 6:55 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. Good evening, and welcome to Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. I'm Danielle Taylor, and I'll be your commentator for this evening's mission. Following liftoff, you'll hear the voice of Steve Agad providing launch vehicle ascent data. In just a few moments, at T-minus 4 minutes, the count will enter a planned 15-minute built-in hold. This planned hold allows launch conductor Doug LeBeau and his team time to address any last-minute tasks. However, at this point, we remain on schedule for launch at 6:55 p.m. Eastern. At the request of our customer, we'll end today's live coverage with payload fairing jettison, which is scheduled to occur approximately 5 minutes after liftoff. However, before we sign off, I will be joined by Captain Dan Natmiller from the Air Force Research Laboratory. Captain Natmiller and I will discuss their role in the AFSPC-4 mission. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Tonight's Delta IV rocket is carrying 3 payloads to orbit, 2 geosynchronous Space Situational Awareness Program satellites, and an automated navigation and guidance experiment for local space, or ANGELS satellite. Built by Orbital Sciences Corporation, the twin GSSA program satellites will support U.S. Strategic Command Space Surveillance and Operations and the Joint Functional Component Command for Space by collecting space situational awareness data, allowing for more accurate tracking and characterization of man-made orbiting objects. With unobstructed and distinct vantage points for viewing resident space objects orbiting Earth, the data gathered will uniquely contribute to timely and accurate orbital predictions, enhancing our knowledge of the geosynchronous orbit environment and further enabling spaceflight safety, including satellite collision avoidance. Managed by the Air Force Research Laboratory Space Vehicles Directorate, the ANGELS satellite will examine techniques for providing a clearer picture of the environment surrounding our nation's vital space assets, by testing several new spacecraft technologies and operations methodologies. ANGELS hosts a Space Situational Awareness Sensor, and by targeting a limited region around the Delta IV second stage, will evaluate techniques for the detection, tracking, and characterization of space objects, as well as attribution of actions in space with the goal of dramatically reducing the probability of collision with other space objects in an increasingly congested space environment. Again today, the weather is a bit unsettled on Florida's east coast. The launch team recently received a final weather briefing and was told the weather is currently violating the launch commit criteria for this evening's liftoff. The weather briefing provided the following violations: the attached anvil cloud rule, the surface electric fields rule, the flight through precipitation rule, the cumulus clouds rule, and the lightning rule. So despite a high probability of continuing to violate established launch constraints, we are proceeding in the count. United Launch Alliance is using the Delta IV Medium Plus 4.2 configuration to launch AFSPC-4. This is the 27th Delta IV Evolved Expendable Launch Vehicle mission since the inaugural flight in 2002. The Delta IV is produced in Decatur, Alabama, and is comprised of a common booster core, powered by the Aerojet Rocketdyne RS-68 engine, 2 Alliant Tech Systems solid rocket motors, and a Delta cryogenic second stage, powered by the Aerojet Rocketdyne RL-10B2 engine. The encapsulated payload fairing containing the AFSPC-4 mission was transported to Space Launch Complex 37 and mated to the Delta IV launch vehicle on July 11th. In preparation for the launch, the Mobile Service Tower, or MST, was rolled back, revealing the Delta IV launch vehicle. The 33-story MST weighs over 9 million pounds and is rolled to its launch position 300 feet north of the Delta IV launch vehicle. The Delta IV stands 206 feet tall, or about 20 stories, and weighs approximately 721,000 pounds fully fueled. The Delta IV delivers more than 821,000 pounds of thrust off the launch pad, and approximately 4 minutes later, at stage separation, it weighs just 20% of what it did at liftoff. For those watching the broadcast, you're looking at video taken Wednesday at Space Launch Complex 37. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding, as we continue to progress toward launch at 6:55 p.m. Eastern. As I mentioned at the beginning of the show, today's live coverage will end with confirmation of payload fairing jettison. While we wait for the count to resume, let's take a closer look at the events we can expect to see following liftoff.
The following profile details the important events of this mission using approximate times.
8, 7, 6, 5. We have ignition of the main engine. And we have liftoff of the United Launch Alliance Delta IV rocket.
The Delta RS-68 main engine and 2 strap-on solid rocket motors ignite to lift the vehicle away from the pad. Shortly after liftoff, Delta begins its initial pitch and yaw maneuvers to attain the proper ascent profile and minimize aerodynamic loads. Delta IV reaches Mach 1, the speed of sound, at 47 seconds. At 60 seconds, the vehicle reaches maximum dynamic pressure. At 1 minute and 40 seconds, the solid rocket motors are jettisoned. Approaching main engine cutoff, the Delta IV is burning propellant at the rate of approximately 1,040 pounds per second, flying at more than 79 miles in altitude, 241 miles downrange, and traveling at nearly 12,500 miles per hour. Main engine cutoff occurs just over 4 minutes into the flight. 6 seconds after main engine cutoff, the first stage is jettisoned. Second stage engine ignition takes place at 4 minutes and 25 seconds. At 4 minutes 36 seconds, the payload fairing is jettisoned.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. Today's flight is dedicated to our friend and colleague Michael G. Woolley. Following a nearly 24-year distinguished career in the Air Force, Mike retired as a lieutenant colonel and began a new career with the Boeing Company in 1998 working on the Delta IV program. While at Boeing, Mike was very involved with the refurbishment of Space Launch Complex 37 at the Cape in preparation for the inaugural launch of the first Delta IV rocket. Once ULA was formed in 2006, Mike joined the communications team and was best known for leading tours and sharing his immense knowledge and love of the space program and history of the Cape. Mike was also extremely active in the community and would often be seen leading the ULA charge at United Way, Veteran, and Special Olympics events. Mike was a consummate professional, as well as a kind and considerate person. His legacy will continue with each new tour group that hears the official Woolley Tour script and leaves more educated and enthusiastic about the great work that ULA is a part of. His memory will remain, and he is greatly missed.
L-minus 10 minutes.
RC, verify solar radiation limits acceptable for launch.
Verified.
All communications switch to channel 1. All personnel and visitors remain in present position until launch. Maintain operational silence in the LCC.
Is the LC on channel 1 with a terminal count briefing? If a condition exceeds a launch constraint any time after the terminal count status check, The observer shall announce hold, hold, hold on channel 1, identify their station, and briefly state the reason for the hold.
L minus 9 minutes.
LC, this is FMA.
Go ahead, FMA.
Primary wind load relief file has been loaded into the RIFCA and verified. The internal checksum is Charlie 3 Delta 4.
Roger. Range coordinator, LC, channel 1.
RC zone 1.
Roger. Verify we are still in a phase 2 condition.
That's verified.
Roger. Launch director, LC, channel 1.
Launch director on 1.
Roger, sir. We are currently still, as you are aware, in a phase 2 lightning warning, and also we have not completed our flight slews and some other subsequent testing. At this time, I'd like to recommend we extend the current hold.
Launch director concurs.
Roger. Timer, do not release the hold.
Copy.
ALC, hold fire on.
Hold fire on.
And range coordinator, LC.
RC on 1.
Roger, please advise the range that at this time we are extending the current hold, awaiting weather.
Roger that. And work.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We have just learned that the hold has been extended, and we will continue to remain in the hold and monitor the weather. We have also just learned that we have added an additional weather violation for the disturbed weather rule. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the planned hold as we monitor the current weather situation here at Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. We are currently violating 6 weather constraints, including the attached anvil clouds rule, the surface electric fields rule, flight through precipitation rule, cumulus clouds rule, lightning rule, and disturbed weather rule. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide periodic updates. As I mentioned earlier, we have a 65-minute window of time available today to launch the AFSPC-4 mission. Launch windows are unique to each mission and are determined by the satellite's intended orbit, when that orbital plane will intersect with the rocket's trajectory, or path. Many additional factors help determine the launch window for a particular mission, including the performance or capability of the launch vehicle. Rockets with more capability or power sometimes enable longer windows, which gives the launch team more flexibility to fix any last-minute technical issues, or in this case, wait out the severe weather. Windows also vary by day, month, and year based on the satellite's desired orbit. A mission trajectory and window are developed by the mission design team that considers all of the factors as they plan the satellite's trip to space. Determining launch windows really is rocket science. This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. We remain in the hold as we monitor the current weather situation. We are currently violating 6 weather rules. These rules include the attached anvil clouds rule, the surface electric fields rule, flight through precipitation rule, cumulus clouds rule, lightning rule, and disturbed weather rule. There are 56 minutes remaining in the window for this evening. We'll continue to monitor the situation and provide periodic out briefs. The launch team has yet to establish a new launch time.
LC, this is MD on 1.
Go ahead, MD.
MD, at this time, based upon weather forecasts and where we are in the count, I am declaring we are scrubbed for the evening. Please recycle for a 24-hour pickup attempt tomorrow.
Roger, copy scrub for tonight. Set up for 24-hour turnaround.
Affirmative.
Copy that. All personnel turn to page 101, scrub detanking operations. Launch Director, LC.
LD on 1.
Roger, sir. With the MD's declared scrub, request permission.
This is Delta Mission Control at T-minus 4 minutes and holding. It has just been confirmed that we will not continue with the launch activities this evening. We do not expect the weather conditions to get better during the launch window. We will try again tomorrow, 24 hours from now. For the most up-to-date information, please visit our website, www.ulalaunch.com, or call our launch hotline, 1-877-852-4321. I'm Danielle Taylor. Thank you for joining us. This concludes tonight's broadcast.